Hello again, my railfan friends, and welcome back to another CSC Productions video. This one we're going to take a look at some trains that we saw up in Northwest Ohio. First off was this Central Kansas Railway number 701, sitting in Tiffin, Ohio. It is actually part of the Northern Ohio and Western Railroad, a short line that does some interchange with CSX in Tiffin, Ohio. This is where we would start off our morning. This was the only engine that we actually found sitting on that railway to start off. Second train of the day was this M367 on the Willard sub. Daily Selkirk, New York to Chicago, Illinois. Mainly empty cars. After the passing of M367, we pushed on up to Oak Harbor, trying to see if we could get any Chicago Line traffic up there. We didn't get anything the entire morning that we sat up there, but we did catch this 41N, who was running over the Dayton District, which flies over the Chicago Line. But there is a connection about a half-mile west of here that he'll take to get onto the Chicago Line, and he would tie down about 12 miles later to get a new crew. Leading 41N on this cold day were two NS AC-44 C6Ms, rebuilt from old Dash 944 CWs. After 41N, we waited around and nothing showed up, so we decided to head to Deshler. For those of you who don't know Deshler is nicknamed the Crossroads of the B&O. It's where the Toledo sub from Cincinnati to Toledo crosses the Willard sub, turning into the Garrett sub, nicknamed the Chicago Line from Chicago to Cleveland. It's a very busy place and very popular in Northwest Ohio among rail fans. There's an abundance of train action up here every day, all hours of the day, 24/7, 365. There's even CPLs at the south end of Deshler and near the Diamond, which is honestly really cool and a favorite part of mine. Shortly after arriving into Deshler, we were greeted to the side of I-0010 heading eastbound. This is Bedford Park, Illinois to Port Newark, New Jersey. And he's usually a hot train, and today is no exception. Shortly after getting into the Deshler Crossroads Park, a southbound got lined, while on the Garrett side of Deshler, an eastbound B631 was sitting, waiting for southbound intermodal train I-141, who had just started his journey at North Baltimore, a couple miles to the east, to turn south. I-141 is daily North Baltimore, Ohio to Duval Yard in Jacksonville, Florida, as Florida rail fans and natives will call Jack's Ramp. Deshler is one of my favorite places on the Northwest Ohio rail system. It's open, it has still some of those B&O CPLs, and a lot of foreign power seats come through here. I'll definitely be returning to Deshler sometime this spring. maybe in the summer too. I'll have to make multiple trips up here. The last of this behemoth I-141 finally clears the Deschler Crossroads Park. As we begin to move south, we hear B-522 also coming south. He was following close behind I-141, who was leaving out of North Baltimore. This is daily Detroit, Michigan to AK Steel in Middletown, Ohio, steel slab loads and steel coil empties. The shot here is obvious and is pretty cool. That's Tyler Dixon over there off to the left, taking photos. Near the south end of Deschler, we got a bit of a surprise. A CSX SD40-2 was in charge of a road freight. Yes, an SD40-2 in charge of a road freight in 2024. An ex-Seaboard at that. It still blows my mind to see that this old road power can also be in charge of trains in the year 2024. It was pretty common to see it in 2023 here and there, but I'm actually just really surprised and really thankful that these locomotives are still out and still running around and earning their keep on CSX. The ID came over the radio as M506 for this train. This is daily Cincinnati, Ohio to Walbridge, Ohio. He'll make a right turn here at Deschler, and then when he reaches Fostoria, he'll make a left-hand turn to go north right into Walbridge at the south end of the yard. Hearing that horn is pretty cool too. Love it. After M506 cleared, we decided to float down about 10 minutes to Leipsic, just south of Deschler. Here we caught up with that same B522 that we saw back at the reservoir at Deschler. He was slowing to clear up because of the I-141 that had a little bit of an action trouble ahead of him. But in no time, we got moving and clear the diamond shortly. These 2 photos behind John F. Bajorklin, I think that's how you say his name, is a DT&I train heading south on the now I&O, crossing over the former Nickel Plate, now the Norfolk Southern. Things you won't see in this shot anymore: the tower at the I&O and NS Diamond is long gone, DT&I is not around anymore, and those nickel plate signals are no longer around anymore either. Thank you to John F. Bajorklin for taking these photos. And in this one, by a guy named Matt, I forget his last name, shows the NS and CSX Diamond, when there were B&O CPLs controlling the Diamond. A few things you won't see in this photo anymore: the CPL B&O lights, which guarded the Diamond, are now replaced by the new Safe Trans color light signals. And the 2 CSX YN2 units, a standard cab -8 and a standard cab SD50, no longer exist either. Pretty sad, honestly. It wasn't long before an NS westbound, who had been patiently waiting east of town for B522 to clear up, got the signal to head west towards Fort Wayne and points west. I believe this was train 15Q, daily Bellevue, Ohio to Decatur, Illinois, but I wasn't sure. The radio was silent, and so we couldn't get a confirmation on the ID. gotta tell you, Leipsic is a pretty popular spot in Northwest Ohio. Although it's not as busy and as attractive as the Deschler and Fostoria sceneries, it's still a pretty busy place for NS and CSX and whenever I&O decides to say hi. After the westbound NS cleared, up came B631, who we just saw at Deschler not too long ago. B631 was being led by two NS-944CWs, which is another site that will be disappearing at least by the next year sometime, and a Canadian Pacific GE. These are ethanol loads heading down to Tampa, Florida. After that, it was time to head back to home rails, but the radio caught our attention near Enon, Ohio on the Dayton District at CP 190. A meet was getting set up between NS train 170 and 179. Eastbound train 170 showed up not long after we arrived and was heading into the siding for a running meet with 179. The Enon siding that the NS train 170 is entering used to be part of the Erie-Lackawanna's main line from Marion, Ohio into Dayton, but that was ripped out long ago, and so that piece of the main line begins here at 190 and ends about a little bit east at CP 188 at the east end. And not long after 170 had gotten into the hole, westbound train 179 came out on the main line and began heading west towards Dayton and Cincinnati. Led by a C6M rebuild, the thing of interest that caught our eye was this CSX rebuild SD70 Mac, it's trailing second. It is a nice surprise every now and then to see a rival on another railroad's rails. I hope you guys enjoyed us following in our Northwest Ohio trip and a few trains down on the Dayton District. Until next time, this is CST Productions, signing off, and have a Happy New Year.